Welcome everyone to another edition of Play It Through, and on this bonus episode, it's Adventures in the Magic Kingdom, the Mickey Mouse hack. Basically, someone just took Adventures in the Magic Kingdom and hacked Mickey Mouse into the main character's spot instead of the kind of generic cowboy hat-wearing character that was the main character of the game. Why am I playing this ROM hack? Honestly, just want an excuse to replay this game, as it is one of my favorites on the NES. In Adventures of the Magic Kingdom, you are tasked with going around the Magic Kingdom of Disney and collect 6 silver keys in order to unlock the gate to start the parade. The keys are located at 5 different attractions, and you have to complete, basically like its own little mini game, get the key, and also get 1 key for solving trivia questions. Interestingly enough, of all the Disney Capcom games, this one was actually not released in Japan. It would be a little bit difficult for me to do that version anyway, since you have to solve the trivia questions, but I'm sure I could have figured my way through. When we start the game, we're going to head up here and answer the first of the trivia questions. The trivia questions are random, and Donald Duck's middle name is Fauntleroy. The trivia questions, there's a good amount of them, but they are like the kind of the same ones each time you're going to be playing. You'll be seeing a lot of similar ones or the same ones, but which question each of the characters ask you as you're trying to solve them changes up each time you play, so you're never quite sure, making speedrunning the game a little bit challenging. The biggest of the Disney parks is Tokyo Disneyland, which I have no idea if that's anywhere near accurate anymore nowadays with everything that's changed, but it is the answer for that question. The first of the places we're going to go is Space Mountain. Now for this, you have to get from Planet A to Planet F, and to do so, you have to hit the coordinates on the control pad in the center bottom of the screen. You have 3 health at your disposal, so basically you can make 3 mistakes before it's game over, in which case you'll have to start it over again. You have the D-pad button directions represent, of course, each of the arrows, and then you have A and B, which are represented to take out the planets or the rogue spaceships. Interestingly enough, playing this a lot, as I learned to speedrun the game for a little while at least, there's actually only a handful of different patterns and potential setups for this Space Mountain sequence. So a lot of times, like if you're redoing it over and over and over again, you'll start to see very similar patterns as far as what arrow is going to come after which one, and especially when it gets to like kind of the harder end parts. A lot of times near the end, I kind of got into a rhythm of knowing that it was going to be 2 or 3 of the like spaceship planets in a row. It's actually pretty difficult, especially your first time playing the game, to get through this. As a kid, I had a lot of trouble trying to actually complete the Space Mountain portion. I remember when I was really, really young, I actually had to have my parents help me get through Space Mountain. I could do a lot of the other ones, I could beat all the other of the attractions, but Space Mountain was always one that gave me trouble, so when I got older, one of the first things I wanted to master was the Space Mountain portion of Adventures in the Magic Kingdom. Also, since there are a few different setups and patterns, there's no like direct strategy to anything. It's kind of just you get into a groove of like looking intensely at the control pad, waiting for whatever is about to pop up. Thankfully, you get a little bit of a kind of slower notification when the planet or spaceship's kind of slowly coming up to the screen, so you have a few moments to react. But sometimes with the arrows, you have a millisecond or so to react before you end up taking damage from missing a direction. Also, due to like the overall length of having to go through all the planets, it's actually one of the longer of the games, as even when I redo it speedrunning wise, this one takes a good amount of time to actually get your way all the way through. After a pretty intense shootout at the very end there, we finally arrive at Planet F, and we get the first of the silver keys we're getting in this run. From there, we're going to head up north and go to Topia. Now, this is the racing game here, and while your goal is to beat the race, you can't actually like beat all the other racers. Basically, there's a time limit set up for the track itself. You know you're getting near the very last few seconds because it will start to like beep at you. But your goal is just to survive the course and pass the finish line before the time runs out, even though there are lots of other racers on the track. You hold down the go button and then hit up on the D-pad in order to speed up a little bit, and then of course you can hit the brake in order to slow down, which you need to do so at a few key strategic moments. If you end up getting hit or bump into one of the walls, quickly start to accelerate again so that you can get back on track and you don't end up running out of time. Here we have to do a very kind of strict pattern, making sure that we hit the bumps and hit the other ramps right after landing. Takes a little bit of practice, of course, the first time you're doing this to get through that, and then the upcoming bridge segment I know was always a pain for me when I was younger. The first one you can jump, the second one you gotta slow down to a crawl, or at least completely stop for a moment, so wait for the bridge to expand before then going across it. Right after that, we have to watch out for some more cones and a big jump as we near the very end, getting past a couple of fountains. One last jump, and crossing the finish line. Because as you can see, even as I'm finishing, there's one car that's already still ahead of me, so maybe I technically beat Pete at the very end, but either way, like, you're not really racing the other racers there. From there, we're going to head back left to the Magic Kingdom itself, and go ahead and do some more of the trivia. Next up is a question about Pinocchio, asking which is the name of the cat, which is Figaro, and there, of course, also on there was Cleo, which is the name of the goldfish. From there, we're going to head north and to the right a little bit, and this is another one of the trivia questions. Mary Poppins ends up pulling out a hat rack or whatever out of her bag, and then the dog runs off and once again down towards the gate. So we have to kind of backtrack all the way back to the very front gate in order to answer the next trivia question. This is one of those questions you get asked a lot in this game, or at least seemingly I do, and that is the name of Goofy, or the original name for Goofy, and Dippy Dog. We're now going to head north, close to where we're going to be doing the next of the mini-games, and answer another one of the trivia questions. This one's a weird one. It's like, which character is known as Muse Pig in Sweden? I'm sure I'm saying that absolutely wrong. Either way, Mickey Mouse is the answer. And from there, we're going to go do the train attraction now. For this one, every time you play it, you're not sure what of the stations is going to be open, so you always have to pay attention to what Mickey is telling us at the beginning, even though we're playing as Mickey in this particular ROM hack. I do think the guy did a good job, though, with some of the sprite work when it comes to Mickey. But basically, with the train, you have to go down the track watching out for boulders and closed gates. There's some dead ends. But then the key is at the very end to be at the right set of tracks so you go into the right station. If you go into one of the wrong ones, you end up crashing and have to do the game over again. The easiest, of course, ones are Station 1 and 4 because they're on the ends, but if you end up getting Station 2 and 3, you have to be a little bit more careful. If you're about to run into a gate, of course, you can slow down and brake down. It doesn't have a time limit on it. You just have to make sure that you survive and hit the right gate in order to complete the game. Once we kind of get past the really beginning part, I can really kind of just hug the right wall here and take most of the right tracks and land clearly at the gate 4 and complete the game. We now have 3 of the silver keys. We're going to head to the right and answer the last trivia questions. You have to answer 2 at the very end in order to get the key from the whole trivia thing. Mary Poppins is able to fly with an umbrella, and the second question we have getting is Donald Duck's first appearance with Mickey Mouse, which is the key to that one, because Wise Little Hen is the first Donald Duck cartoon, but the Orphan Benefit is the one that had him and Mickey together for the first time. Now, we have 2 more attractions to go to. First up is the Haunted Mansion, one of the coolest, if not the coolest, level in this game for sure. I've always loved the music here, and I've always loved the entire concept. Here we're going to use candles in order to battle all the monsters and ghouls. The boss ghost that's kind of floating up above me right now, if you run into him before you make it to the house, he ends up instantly defeating you, which really always got on my nerves a bit if you accidentally end up hitting him, but either way, you can kind of get like the bad ending for the Haunted Mansion if you end up getting hit by him at the very beginning. The first room has a bunch of platforming as well as like arms and zombies trying to grab hold of you. Use the chandelier to kind of clear some of the gaps, and near the end we jump on the giant chair in order to go to the second part. Now here, make sure you have some candles so that you'll be able to take out the dancing couples as they're rotating all around the room. I thought I could maybe bypass the one, but I end up running into them. And as you make it to the far left, you'll have to do a bit more platforming off of the chandelier onto a chair that's moving back and forth left and right. Right from there, we jump to another chandelier and a couple more chairs, one more chandelier, and finally another chair, which leads us to one more chair, but this time the chair is facing the other direction and looks a little bit different. Now this chair moves on its own, and for this segment, which I know a lot of people have problems with, but one strategy I always found worked is just stand still. Make sure you're a little bit off the right edge. You don't want to be directly on the right edge, because one of the books can clip you if you're on that very, very edge. But for the most part, just stand still, don't jump, and all the books will come directly to you, or at least within your line of sight, so you can easily hit them with the candles. Right after that, you'll have to do a series of jumps while these thrones or giant chairs end up falling, and then we take this big chair in order to go into the final room. You may have noticed throughout the game we've been collecting the Mickey tokens. In this case, they look like Mickey, but they allow us to use the special abilities. We're going to go ahead and use the invincibility ability and allow us to easily destroy the boss. If for some reason you don't have any of those points, you go ahead and do the Haunted Mansion first, you can still easily take him out. If you get hit once, you still have some health left, just keep mashing the attack button in order to take out the boss ghost. And now we get to move on to the final attraction, which is Pirates of the Caribbean. For this one, we have to watch out for not only pirates, but our goal is to save the maidens that are on the island. There's a total of 6 of them for us to save. We're going to start off by heading up a couple of ladders and across the rooftop areas, watching out for this guy, though I usually end up jumping directly into him because of his kind of sporadic movement. From here, we're going to drop on down and hug right a little bit, so we land on this platform, grabbing this maiden and then dropping on down. From here, use the boat to get across, but watch out for the cannonballs as they do splash water up into the air when you're going through. Next up is a bunch of fireballs and some big pits. You can use the freeze ability to freeze the fireballs, or use your invincibility once again in order to help you easily progress as we capture the next maiden before heading down the ladder here. Once you're down here, watch out for the scorpion, jump over to this platform, saving another maiden. You can stand between the gold that the skeleton throws out. Then wait for this monster, or you can kind of jump over there as long as you just wait on the very edge. And then watch out for him again all the way to the far right where you can grab the golden candle, which is the only way you're able to attack during this game. Go to the left just slightly, climb up the ladder, grab the next maiden, then do a jump over to the right to collect this one, and with the last one, all you gotta do is get over here, climb up the ladder, and then walk right off the edge. Be careful when you drop off the edge that you're not holding right too much, or else it'll fall into the water, but if you land safely here, you can set the fire, and you've completed the stage, and now we have all the keys. Once you have all the keys in your possession, all you need to do is go to the castle at the center of the map, and the ending will play out. So there you have it, Adventures in the Magic Kingdom for the NES. This was the Mickey Mouse hack. I think the guy did a good job with the Mickey Mouse sprite. I've also seen another one that had Sora from Kingdom Hearts instead of the main character from this, which is also a little cool concept. But I haven't seen any other hacks that kind of change up the level designs or really change the gameplay all that much. But with it being Disney December, and I always love this game, I figured I'd go ahead and play this just as a small little bonus. But anyway, guys, that's going to wrap up this episode of Play It Through. Hey everyone, thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, consider giving it a thumbs up or commenting down below. If you enjoyed this playthrough, be sure to check out some of the other Disney ones I've done recently, including The Little Mermaid for the Game Boy, or the Japanese version of DuckTales. I also need to thank all the members of my Patreon. You guys are so amazing. With all your support, I'm able to keep doing what I'm doing, so thank you all so much. If you'd like to help out, just click the little Patreon button. It'll take you to the page with all the information. Speaking of thanks, thank you guys once again for checking out this video, and of course, I hope you enjoyed.